Round 2 of the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championships. A great day for racing. Bad Billy, where are we at?
What's up? This is Leninovich, and we're here at the first moto in Freestone.
You're darn right. We are deep in the heart of Texas, Freestone County Raceway. Usually expect oppressive heat and humidity here. No, it's a beautiful day. 80s, breezy, even a little bit of cloud cover, but the action on the track was heating up. And we'll have all the highlights coming your way. Turned out to be a pair of 1-1 moto sweeps in the 450s and 250s, but that doesn't mean the action wasn't great. So stick with us for all the highlights. It's time for the Racer X Motocross Show, round 2 from Freestone. We're going to get this show started with highlights from the 250 class. You remember how it worked last week. Blake Baggett went out and won both motos. Is he the hands-down favorite in the 250 division? Well, somebody else was ready to step up today and put his name on the list of championship contenders. Revs are up and the gate drops in the first moto. Big surprises out front. How about the rookie on the Lucas Oil Troy Lee Honda, Jesse Nelson, grabbing the whole shot, and the privateer 1110 Mons Honda rider, Phil Nicoletti, keeping the heat on. Those two would battle for the lead. The KTM teammates of Ken Roxon and Marvin Musquin pressing them in third and fourth. But soon Eli Tomac would arrive on the scene. He started about sixth and started picking riders off. Here he is around Musquin up to fourth. Then he'd get around Nicoletti. Then he'd go past Roxon, and then he had to go after the rookie in only his second pro race. Nelson would do a great job holding the lead for a few laps, but there was no stopping Tomac in this moto. Remember, Texas is the race that took a lot from Tomac 2 years ago when he overheated while leading this one. He was back with a vengeance today. Late in the race, Blake Baggett starts putting on a classic charge, leaping his way in what they call the Texas 12-pack. Work his way into the top 5, then the top 3. Then he would go after Roxon for the number 2 spot. And you know where he wanted to make his pass. The fans were lining the fences in front of that 12-pack for another big Baggett leap. By then he had moved up to the number 2 spot. But charge as El Chupacabra might, there was no catching Tomac. He had a 13-second lead, and even Baggett couldn't put a dent in that.
That's always a good sign right there. What do you say, Texas?
Man, feels like amazing to actually get a moto win. You know, it's been since 2010 Hangtown. It's just ridiculous. It's been 2 years, but I think I finally got my act together since then.
Well, let's see if he can keep that act together in moto number 2. Another good start coming up here for Jesse Nelson, but he's got the Texas native, the 956 of Blake Wharton in front of him, and Wharton would run and hide from this field early. Soon Tomac, just like he did in Moto 1, was on the move. He was about 6th. He started charging hard. He would eventually get around Nelson and the rest of the boys to move up to 2nd. And then he systematically went after Wharton's 5-second lead until he had caught the Suzuki rider. And then they went at it. Tomac made a move. Wharton got him back. Tomac repassed him, and they kept duking it out. Finally, Tomac was able to secure the lead. Wharton did a great job holding strong in 2nd. Battle was developing for 3rd between Wharton's teammate, Jason Anderson, and Baggett and Roxon, and they duked it out. Roxon would try to make a move on Anderson and go down. That would put Baggett in a 4th. Baggett quickly got around Anderson for 3rd. He kept digging down deep, and finally on the last lap, he was able to catch Wharton. Wharton was being stingy and didn't want to give that runner-up position, but he made a mistake, couldn't jump a trip on the last lap, and that would put Baggett into the number 2 position. But once again, even Baggett's speed late in the moto had nothing for Tomac, who had another commanding lead and was able to dominate on a track that took a lot from him 2 years earlier. A good job by Roxon to rally back from a crash to finish up on the podium, and Justin Barsha was down in the first turn of this one, came all the way back for a top 5 run, salvage a whole bunch of championship points. On to the 450s. After James Stewart and Ryan Dungey duked it out in the second moto at Hangtown, the fans at Freestone were hoping to see another one of those great races here. Lots of other talent, though, lined up in this 450 division. We're going to try to give them competition. It starts with Stewart's replacement on the Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota Yamaha team, Kyle Regal, who would get the whole shot, but unfortunately just a few turns in, he would go down. Then on lap 1, Stewart make a quick move around Dungey and Nico Izzy to take the lead. Dungey would have to go to work on Izzy also to try to get 2nd. On lap 2, Dungey would make that pass, putting him into the number 2 spot, and then he would go after Stewart. And he did indeed get after it. He would close up on the Yoshimura Suzuki rider, and the fans anticipated Dungey trying to make his first move for the lead of the year. But every time Dungey seemed to have a line dialed in, Stewart had an answer, and on the laps clicked off, and the gap got tighter, and the pace got higher. How about Izzy? Solid top 10 overall performance last week in the Valley Star Yamaha. Was running strong in third in this one. Late in the race, he would yield to Weimer, but that's nothing to be ashamed of. Izzy got to be pumped on his staying power, finishing fourth in this moto. Speaking of staying power, every time Dungey mounted a charge, Stewart was able to answer. The level of speed and fitness that these two showed was incredible. They had a huge lead over the rest of the field. Dungey tried everything to get Stewart, inside lines, outside lines. He applied pressure. Stewart never relented. He holds on to take his third moto win in 3 tries this year. Dungey will finish up second. Weimer, a strong performance in third, but right now it's all about James Stewart in the 450 class. Perhaps the only question left for Stewart was, would he have the fitness to hold on for a second moto in a little bit hotter, a little bit more humid conditions here in Texas? However, it wasn't quite as hot as it's been the last couple of years. Moto number 2, Mike Alessi gets his customary good start, but while he and Dungey battle for the lead through the third turn, Stewart gets by both of them to move back into the number 1 spot. Dungey would get Alessi, Alessi would get Dungey back, Dungey would pass Alessi back to move into the number 2 position, and then the Dungey-Stewart battle was on again. And it was actually even better in Moto 2 than it was in Moto 1. Another thriller. This time, Dungey was able to pull up alongside Stewart 3 or 4 times, but every time, Stewart was able to use his trademark quickness to beat Dungey to the point and hold on to the number 1 spot. Everyone was waiting to see if Dungey would finally pull the trigger on an aggressive pass. The opportunity never presented itself. Brock Tickle had a good ride going until bike problems zapped him in this one, and Nico Izzy was putting in another superb ride in 4th until he crashed. Tough luck for Izzy. At the finish, Stewart holds off Dungey. That makes him 4 for 4 on moto wins this year. Dungey with another runner-up ride. Alessi rode superb to finish 3rd. That's back-to-back overall podiums for the 800. Behind him, Jake Weimer would come from way back, rally for 6th in this moto to salvage 4th overall. Josh Grant and Andrew Short also rode well on this day. And the women's motocross series was back in action as well. Defending champ Ashley Filik, suffering from food poisoning coming in this one, even had to skip some of the practice sessions, but she still had her trademark whole shot abilities off the start. She leads early. Jessica Patterson would get around her, though, and try to check out. Great battling behind with Geiger on the number 3, behind our leaders, and the 66 of Megan Rutledge. Those two would duke it out until Geiger goes down. That'll put Rutledge into 3rd. There was no challenging JP Money, who would get away from Filik and win moto number 1. High fives all around for the Rockstar Suzuki team after that moto win. But things would not go so well for Patterson in moto 2. Another whole shot for Filik. Rutledge and the number 3 of Geiger are right there. On the first lap, Patterson would pass them all, get in the lead momentarily, and then go down. The number 2 Suzuki rider would have her work cut out for her. But she eventually was able to get through traffic. She would get around Geiger. She would get around Rutledge. That would put her into the number 2 spot, but she would need to catch Filik to try to win the overall. Not going to happen. Good job by Rutledge to go 3-3 on the day. Patterson will go 1-2. And Ashley Filik with 2-1 moto scores. Food poisoning? How's that checkered flag taste? She's got the win here at Freestone. That's it for your WMX highlights. Now, let's talk to our race winner. Got James Stewart here to wrap up our show from Freestone. I don't know if you knew, but there was a KTM right behind you the whole race, both times. Did you realize that? Because you seem to just keep riding your own deal.
Yeah, no, I knew he was behind me the whole time, and you know, when you kind of expect it, it's not really a big deal. You know, I knew he was going to be tough. You know, he rode good. He rode good here last year, like I said. You know, coming into it, I knew it's one of his favorite tracks. Might be his favorite track besides Millville. So I knew he was wanted, and obviously what happened last weekend, you know, I knew he was going to try to come out strong. So it was good to able to get a win. And, yeah, sometimes it was actually in front of me a couple times. I was able to get it back, so it was all good.
Texas, it said how hot it was going to be. It wasn't super bad today, but I'm sure when you're pushing that hard, it still had to be a pretty tough race.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of cool-down moments out there. Just seemed like, but it was good. It was good. I was able to, you know, stay cool, hydrate, obviously, and, you know, it wasn't that bad. So, yeah, he definitely stepped it up out there, but the heat wasn't as bad as it was when I was in 08. Yeah, for sure, that was bad.
Now, you said something interesting in the press conference. In 08, you had some pressure from Mike Alessi for a while, and then he went out of the series with an injury, and you said you actually liked having that kind of competition. You're enjoying this right now, this duel.
Yeah, no, for sure. It makes me better, you know, and I think I'm obviously that was one of the reasons I came out here. You know, it'd make me better for 2013. Obviously, riding a guy like, you know, me and Ricky race, it definitely makes you better. And, you know, for sure, you know, some weekends you win, some weekends you lose. But I think at the end of the day, you know, you're building for the right goals, and that's next year's Supercross Series. So we get through this, have a little bit of fun. It's cool to keep the red plate. It's the first time I had it. Was able to run it since '08, you know, but I got hurt. So that was kind of special, and I was trying to keep it today, so it's good.
Last thing, people will look at these races and think, oh, you were ahead of Dungey the whole time, but you haven't actually gotten all the hole shots. You're just doing good stuff on the first lap when it's a little wet, hard to figure out the lines. Is that scary? Is that crazy, or are you in control when you're doing that?
I feel like I'm in control. I don't even think I pulled any hole shots. I think they gave it to Andrew, even though the board said I had it on TV.
Wait a minute.
I'm just saying. I don't know. You even called I had the whole shot, but
I gave it to you.
The funny part is I had to pass Dungey 3 out of 4 motos this year.
Right, but you're doing it early, man.
That's the way you're supposed to do it. Like I heard you guys talking. Like Jeff says, the best way you got to stay clean out there. You don't want to get dirty. So, but no, I was able to. They rewarded the track the first lap, so I knew it would be critical. I didn't want to go through all my tear-offs. And in the second moto, I just was able. They got close in the second moto right there, and I was just able to sneak inside of them. So it was good.
It was good. All right. Well, congratulations. We'll see you at the next one. Thanks, James.
Thanks, Jason.
All right. We'll see you next week on the Racer X Motocross Show.